What's up guys, in this video I'm going to be breaking down and simplifying the home buying process. I know it can be something that's stressful and overwhelming, so I'm just going to try to make it easy for you guys. So to kick it off right from the jump, the first thing that you're going to want to do is go ahead and just analyze yourself, analyze your situation. What's your finances looking like? What's your credit looking like? Do you have a stable income? You want to just analyze what you want and what's required to get what you want. So that's going to be the first thing before you even start step one. I would consider that pregame. I wouldn't even consider that necessarily step one. That's just basically getting all your ducks in a row. The actual step one is going to be talking to a lender and first getting pre-qualified. Pre-qualified doesn't require you getting your credit pulled or anything like that. You basically just tell the lender the same thing you tell me. I work here, I make this amount, this is my credit score, I've been working here for this long, and things like that. This is how much debt I have a car loan, I have student loans, I got credit card debt. And with that information, they're basically gonna let you know if you can get approved for a loan or not. So in the scenario that everything's good and they're like, yeah, go ahead, we're very confident that you can get approved for something, they're going to give you a list of documents that you're going to need to bring back or email to them. That's going to be like your driver's license, a check stub, and some other information. But you're going to want to send that information over to them as quick as possible, just so that way they can get you pre-approved as soon as possible. For those of you who don't know what a pre-approval is, it's basically just getting approved for a loan amount. That's it. As simple as that. It's basically the bank telling you, hey, based off of your credit, your income, we can give you this amount towards a house. In this conversation, you're also going to be talking about what your down payment's going to be and what loan they would recommend to you based off your credit and income. There's a whole bunch of determining factors that determine what loan is going to be best for you, whether you're a veteran, whether where the property is going to be at, how much money you have down, what your credit looks like, and all of that is going to determine what type of loan you're going to want to opt for. But again, this is something that's going to be discussed with the lender, not myself. One more thing I want to add to the pre-approval process is pay attention to the loan type that you get, because there's things like private mortgage insurance with FHA loans that can add anywhere from $50 to $200 to your monthly payment. And again, that's for PMI, private mortgage insurance. One important thing I want to highlight in this topic is shopping for rates. You want to make sure that you're shopping around. You don't just go to the first lender that I send you, because I have 3, 4, maybe 5 that you could talk to, and shop around for rates, because the rate at the end of the day is going to affect your monthly payment. So that's something you're going to want to take very seriously, and 1% change in the interest rate can change your payment from $100 to $300 depending on how much the house is. Another thing that's related to the type of loan that you get is the competitiveness edge that you have along with that loan type. For example, with the FHA loan, they're going to require undamaged exterior, roof, and foundation, and they're also going to require no exposed electrical systems, and just little things like that sellers don't want to have to deal with. So it just makes you have a little bit less of a competitive edge when it comes to FHA loan. So just to reiterate, the first 2 things that you have to do is basically check over yourself, analyze yourself. What do I need? What do I want? Where am I at? And then you go to the lender. Okay, I'm approved for this amount. The next step is going to be to sign a buyer's agency agreement. That's basically just officially hiring me or whoever you choose as your realtor, versus like a conventional loan where requirements aren't as strict. Most of the time, lenders don't even require an inspection on a conventional loan. They just recommend it just so you know what's going on with the property as the property owner. And once you get pre-approved, it's basically off to the races. You're just going to start shopping, looking for houses that are in your budget, not over your budget. Maybe you could look maybe 5, 10, 15,000 out of your budget and try to negotiate them down. And that's just dependent on the market that you're in. At this point of the process is where I would highly recommend creating a long-term plan, whether you plan on living at the place for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or even the whole 30 years. Is this a house that you could grow into with your family, have more kids, be involved in the community, have a good career? Creating a long-term plan is going to kind of narrow down your results when it comes to looking for a house. It's going to kind of narrow down the area that you want to live in, narrow down the bathrooms that you want, the square footage that you want, the yard. And once you have a few options to decide from is when I would start comparing pros and cons of the areas, pros and cons of the house, the home layout, things like that. And once you come to a conclusion on this is the house for us, and that's when you start putting in offers. It might get competitive, it might not. You might get offer accepted on the first one you put in or the 15th one that you put in. And then you get an offer accepted. And once you get an offer accepted, you got 2 obstacles to hop over, and that's inspection and appraisal. Inspection is basically seeing if anything is wrong with the property, and it gets examined by a professional. The second thing is the appraisal, and that's basically just making sure the house is worth what they're asking for. One important thing to highlight with each one is with FHA loans, like I mentioned before, the inspections can be a hurdle to jump over. You might need to make repairs, renegotiate the offer, and things like that. And the critical thing with the appraisal is that it has to come in or above asking price. If it comes in below asking price, the bank is not going to fund that. And what that basically means is that the seller is asking more than what the house is worth. So these are two things that can trip up a transaction really quick. And in a perfect scenario, the inspection goes through, nothing's wrong with the property. The appraisal goes well, it appraises just for what they're asking for. At this point, you're golden. You got the offer accepted, the appraisal came in at asking, and the inspection went well. There's nothing wrong with the property. You're on to the next step, and that is gonna be step number 4, which is the final approval. This is gonna be going back to the lender and telling them, hey, I'm in the process of buying this house. And this is where they check and make sure that nothing has changed since the last time they talked to you. They're gonna make sure you didn't lose your job, you still have your savings, and you haven't bought a nice fancy car, ran up your credit card. And as long as everything is the same as when they pre-approved you before, you're good to go. And then you're on to the last and final step. Step number 5, which is closing. Once you set a closing date, this is where you're gonna go ahead and put down your down payment, your closing costs, and finally sign over all the paperwork and get the house transferred officially into your name. Congratulations, you are now a home owner.